Your international guide, let's explore. Ezra has been shot in the middle of the ocean and falls in the water and ends up coming up for air with the realization that her son is gone. She falls into an unconscious state and gets rescued and ends up in the hospital. She wakes up and realizes her son is not there. She speaks to the doctors and the nurse and tells them, "I'm John Edabelli's wife. Tell him I'm here, my son." Meanwhile, back at John's estate, he is furious that Ezra is gone. There is panic in Javidan's eyes, who put Ezra on that boat. John makes it clear to all those who can hear, if Ezra does not return home by nightfall, there will be no rest for anyone. As his mother whispers doubt in his ear, maybe Ezra left on her own. In the next breath, his mother and Javidan are in the corner because Javidan doesn't want to be found out for what she's doing. But his mother sees this as an opportunity to use Javidan's poor choice to get what she wants, Ezra gone. Meanwhile, Jasmine has made her way back to the island to get Mustafa to leverage him against John, but has an encounter with Javidan, who makes it clear that Mustafa is an Adabali and he will not be going anywhere with her. In the process, his mother intercepts Jasmine and tells her, "Didn't I tell you you're going to get what you want? Have I ever gone back on my word?" Meanwhile, the search continues while John searches for Ezra high and low. While his mother has located the boatman who took Ezra, and she has taken the baby secretly. While Javidan has reached out to her husband and told him that she's the one who put Ezra on the boat and needs his help. At the hospital, Israel speaks to the doctor wondering, "Have you informed my husband?" And then his mother walks in. Ezra lies there helpless and desperate for her son, and the mother begins to ask her 20 questions. The most important one, is this John's son? While John gets the call that Ezra's been located, and his mother is actually at the hospital with her. Ezra in the hospital begins to remember the conversation with John where she promises that she will never tell anyone that the baby isn't John's. So she responds to the mother, "Yes, it is." And then the orderly walks into the room and suffocates her, or attempts. Intercepted by Mapu, the nanny, she gets her out of the hospital. But Ezra tries to explain to Mapu that John is on his way. He should be here any moment. John, in a rage, furious, on his way to the hospital to meet Ezra. But by the time he gets there, Mapu is insistent that they can't stay here and leaves. John gets to the hospital and Ezra is nowhere to be found, and he demands that she is located immediately and calls his mother. Meanwhile, we discover that it wasn't the mother who tried to kill Ezra, but Javidan's husband, Jasmine's brother. And John finds out that Ezra left the hospital with Mapu, and questions start roaming in his mind. Did she break her promise? Mupa and Ezra make it to an unknown destination where she tries to convince Ezra that John can't keep her safe and they have to leave. To our surprise, Mupa has made arrangements with no other than Farouk's father. And Farouk is well and alive. That makes it clear he doesn't care about anything but getting his grandchild back. But Farouk has different plans with his obsession with Ezra. He's gonna get her. While Ezra is pondering on the promise that she made to John, her child is being given to Jasmine by his mother. John looking over the city, wondering, are those whispers from his mother true, as he thinks about all the encounters with Ezra? She wouldn't break his promise, is what I believe his inner voice is telling him. But in his mind, there's still doubt, but he wants to believe. While Mupa is distracted, Isra finds her phone and calls John to no avail because he's in deep discussion with his mother, who continues to plot and whisper and scheme. Then John sends her on her way. Meanwhile, Mupa is furious with Isra for calling John, and she explains, "You don't understand, I made a promise, and I love him." At the insistence of Mupa, she gets in the van. But John, even with his doubts, he's determined to find her. While in the van, she gets caught up in a chase and begins to panic. They drag her out of the van. She thinks the worst, just to come to find out it's John. She is so relieved. But those whispers of doubt still roam in his mind, so he doesn't embrace her back. They get in the car to make their way home, and Mupa gets the call that Isra is with John. They head back to the island. Just as he said, by the time night comes, my wife will be back in this house. He also makes it clear to his mother that if she had any part in this, there is no forgiveness. Isra desperately missing her son, not knowing what to say to John. His mother appears with a gift for Isra. He places it in her hand and she opens it, and it's a music box with a ballerina, the same one from the dream she had when she was under the water, unconscious. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.